Hello, how's it going? So, if you've been following my channel for any length of time, then you know that I talk a lot about respect. That it's vital. It's vital for your marriage. You got to figure out how to get your wife to respect you. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today is how to do that. But before we go on, if you're married and you're a man and you want things to get better in your marriage, communication, intimacy, sex, the whole 9 yards, then subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon for notifications. So now, how do you get your wife to respect you? How do you do it? Yeah, so there's some scooters going to be going by. I'm in Taiwan, right? I live in Taiwan, and that is a very common mode of transport around here. So if it gets a little bit noisy from time to time, just forgive me. So, how do you get your wife to respect you? How do you do that? Uh, the short answer and the not helpful answer is to be respectable. You know, people respect people who are respectable. And it really comes down to you knowing your own value, for believing that you are good, that you're good enough, and that you deserve certain kinds of treatment. That's the basis of it. And I know sometimes these things are easily overlooked. These things are easily kind of brushed aside or brushed under the rug. But really, that's the heart of it. That's the heart of it. If for whatever reason you've got some ideas about your wife and how you are together and that she's sort of on a higher status than you, then that's not respectable. You're not respecting yourself, right? You've kind of put yourself into this dynamic where she's above you and you're below her. And if you keep at that, then it's just a matter of time that until she doesn't respect you. So you have to know your own value. You have to create your own value. And that means a lot of different things. That means a lot of different things. One thing it means is in our day and age, it means about finances. It means about money. Like, how well are you able to make your ends meet? How well are you able to take care of your wife and kids? How well you take care of yourself? And how future focused are you? Are you getting ahead of the game or are you getting behind the game? Because if you're staying the same, you're getting behind. So that's something to think about in terms of value, money. I mean, that's the cold hard truth about it. That's a big part of it. Next is frame. And when I talk about frame, I mean the story through which you see the world. You know, we go through events every day. We have things that happen to us, and we are narratizing. We're narratizing those events. We're making a narrative out of them. We are human beings. We are storytelling creatures. We are always telling a narrative. So the narrative that you bring through to any situation will either call for more respect or less respect. And what I mean is, let's say you're at the restaurant, you're at a restaurant, and the waiter is rude to you. Now, you can make that event mean anything you want it to be. You could make it mean that the waiter is treating you with disrespect because he sees something about you, he doesn't like you, something about him having an opinion about you. You can make it mean that. You could also make it mean that he's having a bad day, she's having a bad day. And so, you know, things like that happen. We all do it. We all have moments of a weakness where we're in a bad mood and we take it out on somebody that doesn't deserve it. So that's in terms of frame. That's an example of how you decide what things mean. And how you decide what things mean goes a real long way to how you react, or no, not react, how you respond to situations. And I say not react because if you're reacting, then you're not really having you're not coming at it with a strong frame. You're not coming to it with a strong frame if you're reacting to it. You want to be able to respond to it. And the difference is not a long time, but it is a Grand Canyon's worth of difference in terms of respectability. Generally speaking, reacting in any or all situations is not respectable. Most of the time it's not a big deal. Everybody does it. I still do it. But it's always something I'm working to. React less, respond more. React less, respond more. And then respectable, like this kind of ties into frame, but your fitness. How well are you taking care of yourself? How well are you taking care of yourself? Because if you're not taking care of yourself well, then that says something about how much you respect you. And if you don't respect you very much, and sort of a person could see that maybe in the way you carry yourself, or how overweight you are or aren't, or how fit you are or aren't. People see the decision that you've made about yourself through time. They've seen you make that decision. They see the result of that decision, the inertia of that decision, if you will. And that's either respectable or not respectable. So these are three key areas: fitness, frame, finances. Not all of them by all means, but this is just a YouTube video. Now, what do you do about it? Well, if you look at your life through those three filters we just talked about, and you find a way to get better in all of them. You find a way to get better in all of them. But you also, in the moment, you focus on, if your wife is not respecting you, you need to focus on calling that out. I was coaching a gentleman a couple days ago, and his wife is kind of like calling him names and stuff. And that's not acceptable ever. And so every time it happens, I was telling him, you got to stop. You say, hey, we can talk about this in a calm, reasonable, mature way, but we're not going to call anybody names. Please stop. And if you can't do that, then I'm going to leave the conversation. And that's the structure of a boundary. I don't like this kind of behavior. I don't like it when you do that, or I feel angry when you do that, or I feel sad when you do that, whatever it is. But you start with an I statement. That way you're demonstrating your ownership, your leadership. And then you add what the other person's doing. And then you tell them what the consequence is going to be. That's simple. And at first, if you haven't been doing this for a while, at first, it's probably not going to go well. People are going to poke and test your boundaries. But you got to set a consequence, and you got to enact it. And if you're not willing and ready to enact that consequence, then don't set the boundary, because an unenforced boundary is much worse than no boundary at all. An unenforced boundary is much worse than no boundary at all. And that's how you get respect. You start by setting boundaries, enforcing them, and demanding that the people in your life, including your wife, treat you the way that you deserve to be treated. And whatever I said about finance, fitness, and frame, it doesn't matter how bad you are in those areas or how you might need to level up. The fact is, you're a human being, and that comes with an unchangeable amount of inherent worth, inherent value. And so that's always able to be defended, even if you're behind on all of them. It doesn't mean you can't stand up for yourself yet. No, you're a human being. You have worth. You have value, as much as your wife, as much as the billionaire, as much as the homeless guy. You have human worth, and that's what you need to defend. And when somebody encroaches on that, then you say, hey, I'm not cool with that. Please stop. If you don't, I'm out of here. And you do that. That's it. It's pretty simple. Again, subscribe, hit the bell icon. If you got any questions about this, put them in the comments and see if I can help you.